Good evening. I'm Dr. Natasha Das from Haslo Consultancy Private Limited. Haslo is a medical communications and healthcare consultancy firm in Delhi. We do a lot of medical communication services. In the medical communication field, we prepare visual aids, infographics, educational material, and product monographs, press releases and newsletters, slide decks for awareness programs, and website contents for in the layman language. In the scientific publication arena, we prepare thesis manuscripts, which can be research manuscripts, review articles, case reports, and case series or congress presentations. We also provide research support to healthcare researchers in the form of survey questionnaires, informed consent forms, data analysis, literature support, study report. And we conduct trainings, which are customized lectures or seminars, webinars, or workshops on various aspects of research methodology, academic writing, and medical communication. Another aspect of what we do is healthcare awareness programs. We conduct healthcare awareness programs for based on employee health, elderly care health, and child and adolescent health, women's health, all types of issues related to health. Now, today's program is in a format where we want all of you to have an interactive session with our expert. We are going to discuss today about diabetes and women. Now, only recently it was the International Women's Day on 8th of March, and today incidentally is the National Gestational Diabetes Awareness Day. Now, National Gestational Diabetes Awareness Day focuses on gestational diabetes. We'll hear from our expert more about what is gestational diabetes and why so much focus is needed on that. But we will also discuss about other aspects of diabetes and women. Now, the expert we have today is Dr. Devashish Das. Devashish Das is a consultant physician and diabetologist at Sagar Healthcare Center, Sakinaka, and Siddhivinayak Diagnostic Center, Marol Pipeline, Andheri East. He is an advisor to BIRAC, which is in the Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, for startups in the field of healthcare, diagnostics, and medical technology. He is also a consultant to the British High Commission on Healthcare and Life Sciences. Dr. Das is an MBBS from MKCG Medical College, Parampur in Odisha, and he has done his MD from AIIMS, New Delhi. He is also an MBA from University of Leeds, UK. He has he's completed a postgraduate program in diabetology from Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in USA. Welcome, Dr. Das. Dr. Das?
Yeah. Thank you.
I think your video is off. Can you just switch on your video, please?
Oh, no, my video is on the other one.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm probably.
Yeah, because I'm logged in two systems. One is the mobile and other one is the...
Okay, yeah, sorry, yeah. I hope you can see Dr. Das now.
Yes. I'm visible to everyone. Yeah.
So,
thank you, Dr. Natasha.
Thank you, Dr. Das. So our program today is going to be a very interactive session where all of you can ask questions related to diabetes and women. And Dr. Devashish here will be answering your questions. These questions may be in English or in Hindi. We welcome questions in both the languages. Whenever you want to ask a question, please unmute yourself because we'll be muting everybody to avoid any background noises. So please unmute yourself and ask the question. Or if you have a question that you want to put on the chat box, please put it in the chat box and we'll pick it up and ask Dr. Das to answer those questions. I think I'll go with the first question. First, we need to understand, does diabetes actually affect men and women differently, Dr. Das?
So first of all, thank you, Dr. Natasha, for this opportunity to interact directly with people on diabetes, which is a very, very important topic, and especially women and diabetes, because that is more vital and I think we'll come to know more during our interaction. So you can just address me Debashish, no need to be very formal, Dr. Das, and anyone here, you can address me as Debashish or Dr. Das or whatever you feel comfortable. I'm okay with that. So I think the first question, very pertinent question. Although the prevalence of diabetes is very high in men as compared to women, but diabetes affects women and men quite differently. Not very strikingly different, but still there are differences in the way it affects women and men. And the most important thing is the symptoms of diabetes are usually normal or common in both men and women, but there are a couple of symptoms or presentation which are unique to females. For example, which normally doesn't happen in men. So sometimes ladies come and present with vaginal fungal infections or oral fungal infections, and then we find that is because of diabetes. That is one. Second could be repeated or urinary tract infections or vaginal infections. Second. Third, sometimes females present with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is again another endocrine disorder which commonly happens with diabetes and other endocrine disease. So that is the third. And fourth is a lot of sometimes females or ladies, they present with sexual dysfunction. Means maybe just simply, if I say in a layman word, they might come for vaginal dryness, or they are not able to have a proper libido, or they are having a painful sexual intercourse, which are the signs of sexual dysfunction, could be signs of diabetes in a woman. Other than that, I think the normal presentation of diabetes in men and women are same: increased thirst, more hunger, more urination, then weight loss, and then sometimes you might have weight gain also, but then it depends, but usually it is weight loss. And so these are the common things. But another important thing, quite different in men and women in diabetes is, usually men are pre-diabetic for almost around an average of 8 years before they become a profound diabetic patient. But females, they have research have shown, they normally are pre-diabetic for almost 10 years before they become profound diabetic. So although they are pre-diabetic, but still the vascular complications, research has very well shown, the vascular complications are much more deadlier and lethal in a female as compared to men. For example, the data shows globally that a woman has almost 50% excess risk of coronary heart disease as compared to a man who has diabetes. Second, almost 30% increased risk of stroke as compared to men who has diabetes, and almost 20% increased risk of having a vascular dementia, forgetful dementia, as compared to a man. So these are, so in general, if we say, the vascular complications in a woman with diabetes are much more higher as compared to a man.
So you mean to say that in women, diabetes is not so as common as in men, but the complications are little different.
Yes.
And sometimes the complications related to the heart disease, which I mean the heart disease complications related to diabetes are much higher in females than in males, right?
And not only higher, not only higher, it is also lethal, deadlier.
Lethal, yeah.
If a woman have a heart attack, then the complications of having a heart attack in a woman is much more serious than a man.
Okay. Thank you. There is a question from Jyotirmayi Sadangi. She asks, what minimum critical changes can we bring in our lifestyle to make the blood sugar level normal?
Okay. So if you are a healthy person and you want to prevent diabetes, I think the best way is to have a well-balanced diet. Means you have a certain amount of carbohydrate, certain amount of protein, certain amount of vitamins, minerals, fibers, nuts, and then fruits. Apart from that, you need to take a timely manner. You should not have a dinner after 8 o'clock. Ideally, the dinner should be within 8 o'clock. So as per the science, you should have the dinner at least 2 hours before of your sleep. So if you're sleeping at 10, your dinner should be at 8. And studies have shown if you do that, so that is one is diet. Second is you have to be physically active. At least half an hour to 1 hour you have to give yourself, apart from your homework, whatever household work you do. Normally you use small muscles, but the large muscles are not used, which are very vital in your glucose absorption and utilization in the body. So whether you like running, jogging, cycling, or playing anything, or dance, you should do some amount of aerobic and some resistant exercises like small dumbbells and all. At least 5 days a week, you should do it. So
does walking also help?
Yes, but then you also need to be careful that you should have a balanced diet. You can't have a very heavy diet and then you just do a walking. It will not suffice. So you need to maintain your, as per your body requirements, your type of lifestyle, the work you do. Depending on that, maintain your diet and your exercise accordingly, so that you maintain the body weight. You should not, your BMI should not cross 25.
Thank you, Dr. Devashish. Now, you were talking about, I'll come back to the symptoms again. You were talking about fungal infections in the mouth and fungal infections in the vagina being a common presenting symptoms in females who have diabetes. Now, how would a female know that there is probably a fungal infection?
Usually such fungal infections are, if it is in the mouth, it is usually in white in color. So I think mouth they can always know, because they always eat something or are brushing, they can see that. So there will be a layer on the tongue or on some side of the cheek. So if something is white, most likely it's an infection. So it's better to consult a physician. And if it is a vaginal candidiasis or a vaginal thrush, so number one is you will have itching. You might have a white curdish discharge, and some females might have painful micturition. When they urinate, there is pain, and some of them might have a pain during sexual intercourse. So if these symptoms are there, then most likely you have a vaginal infection. So better to consult a physician or a gynecologist.
Thank you. You also mentioned about polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS, or even PCOD as it is commonly known. Now, many females do have a diagnosis of PCOD. Is it PCOD which causes diabetes, or diabetes which is causing PCOD?
Both are the two sides of a coin. They come along, but research has not shown that PCOD causes diabetes or diabetes causes PCOD. But what happens in PCOD, ovaries, which are a normal sexual organ of a female, they have multiple cysts and they produce more of male hormones. So because of increase in the male hormones, then the side effects happen. Like your sugar levels goes up, you have hairs on the face, you have your voice changes, you gain weight. So because of these, and also insulin resistance is also a part of PCOD because of this increase in male hormones. Because of this, there is an association of PCOS and diabetes. But exactly, if you say yes, PCOD if not treated long time, definitely it will cause, because there is increase in the weight and there is increase in blood sugar. So definitely both of them will lead to diabetes.
So basically, अगर आपको PCOD या PCOS है, तो आपके हार्मोन इम्बैलेंस हो रहे हैं. हार्मोन इम्बैलेंस, डायबिटीज भी एक तरह का हार्मोनल इम्बैलेंस है. इंसुलिन हार्मोन का इम्बैलेंस ही है, राइट?
यस.
सो बोथ आर कोरिलेटेड, आप बोल रहे हैं.
या.
ओके, थैंक यू फॉर दैट. एनी मोर क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द ऑडियंस, और शुड आई आस्क अनदर क्वेश्चन?
Let's ask if audience has any questions. Anyone has? Don't worry. It could be a stupid question also, but don't worry. Questions are always questions. Can it be cured? Somebody is asking. So what? So are you asking PCOS or diabetes or gestational diabetes? What exactly are you asking, Miniji?
Miniji, you can unmute yourself and talk also if you want to.
Yeah. So this is diabetes he is asking. So currently, if you are asking me type 2 diabetes, it is not curable. But if it is gestational diabetes, because gestational diabetes is a temporary phenomenon which just happens during pregnancy, and after pregnancy, once the female delivers the baby, the lady again becomes totally normal. But there is a but. In her lifetime, that lady, if she does not maintain her weight, proper diet and exercise, and she ignores that, she might become a overt type 2 diabetes in her lifetime, maybe after 5 years or 10 years or more. So, but in general, gestational diabetes goes away after delivery.
See, why I was asking this question is that 4-5 years back, my blood sugar was very high. Around 7.9 was the HbA1c, and every day I took my PP or MT, this fasting, it was higher. So doctor had put me on some medicines, Glycomet, 500 twice daily. But then after 2-3 years, I started getting dizziness. And then when I checked my this HbA1c and all, everybody was surprised. Like it was very low. So they asked me to stop the medicine. And as of now, my HbA1c is only like around 6, and I am called non-diabetic. Can you explain that phenomenon? Because
I will tell you. So what happens is, one thing is, you might not have been a overt diabetes. You could have become diabetes because of something else, maybe because you are taking some other medication or because of some other medical disorder. In a normal individual, the HbA1c is up to 5.6. From 5.7 till 6.5, it is pre-diabetes. Okay. And once it is equal to or more than 6.5, we call it overt diabetes. Now, between 5.7 to 6.5, when we call them pre-diabetes, we normally do not prescribe any medications. Normally, a diet and a lifestyle modification is good enough to keep you to reach between diabetes. You might become a healthy individual. But if you do not follow that vigorously, then you might become a diabetic. So that is why whenever a patient comes of diabetes or a pre-diabetes, we always tell them to continuously, timely, at least every 3 months you check it, depending on your sugar levels and your status. If your A1C comes down below 6, then we do not tell them to take any medication. We just tell them to follow a proper diet and lifestyle modification.
Yeah, I've been doing that because once I have had the medicine for 2-3 years. So like whenever I go for any test, I go for this also, HbA1c. But now the doctors have told me that you please stop taking this test because you are not diabetic. I don't know how it was.
So you are not diabetic, but you are a pre-diabetic because your A1c is 6. Your A1c is not below 5.7.
Around 6, like it was 5.9 once I did, and it was 5.6 once when I did. So I keep doing it.
Yeah. So my advice is you keep continuing every 3 to 6 months. You check your sugars and A1c, and so that it does not reach to 6.5. If it reaches, then you might have to again start medications and consult your physician.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Welcome. Any other questions? I think there are certain from the chat box. Let me see. Yeah, there's a question from Lipika. I'm 46-year-old. What are the prevention we have to take? My weight is fine so far. I think I told the answer, Lipika. You have to have a proper diet and a daily exercise, so that you are 46. I don't know your height. So if it all depends on the height. If you are around 5 feet 1 or 2 inches or 3 inches, I think you should be around 50 kilograms, 50 to 55. So if you take a balanced diet and every day you do some workout, some exercise, whatever you like, and any part of the time, and you just maintain your weight, I think it will be fine.
There is another question from Sikta Tambe.
Yeah.
She asks, hello sir, it said that so sugar, potato, rice, etc. to be avoided. Is it that carbohydrates are to be avoided as a whole? Should all carbohydrates be avoided, is what she's asking.
So is this question regarding for a diabetic patient, or are you asking in general, Sikta?
Yeah, hi. I'm asking in general so that we don't, because even I am now 44,
Uh-huh.
so I'm trying to take a preventive measure. So even I don't want to land up like, because we, being a Bengali, we are very much into rice and potato and sugar, everything.
So, so, so,
So
so,
yeah, that
so,
is.
yeah, no, good question. So, my advice is, we do not tell all these things to be avoided in a healthy person who is not diabetic or not a pre-diabetic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It will be more wise to avoid the refined foods. Refined means the things made up of maida or pure sugar, like ice creams or your candies, or which gives you a glucose thrust, like a Coke or something like that. But take a balanced, as I take a balance, whatever you're taking, like sugar potato, like in the Hindi we say shakar kandi, yeah, suran, yeah,
No,
arbi.
no, no, no,
Arbi,
no.
you
I
can,
didn't mean
yeah.
that.
I think she's asking sugar and potato
Comma
and
मेरा रह गया
rice.
typing करने में.
Yeah,
I
yeah. So,
Yes, 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 yes.
yeah. So important is to, if you're taking that, you also take those calories out by doing some workouts. That is more important.
So anything in moderation is fine, I believe.
Yes, yeah. Anything in moderation in fight. For example, if you ask me rice, rice, actually the best rice are your parboiled rice. The basmatis of the world, the columns of the world are not the best rice. Their glycemic index is very high, glycemic load is very high, and they do not have any nutrition value. You do not get any vitamins, any minerals from those rices.
And I would
So can
also
you
like,
guide?
yeah, because she
Sorry.
mentioned that she is a Bengali, I would also like to ask you here, Devashish, would you suggest that having good is better than having sugar?
If you ask me, yes. I'm talking for a healthy person. I'm not talking for a diabetic person. Let me be very clear.
Yes,
When
yes.
we are advising a healthy person, good is definitely better than sugar. In respect to, if you sugar is more refined, good is not so refined. Number one. Number two, if you take good, it also has high amount of iron and other minerals. So it is actually good, but good is much better than a sugar. So when you are taking chai le rahe hain ya coffee le rahe hain or something else you are taking, it's better to take a honey or a good rather than pure sugar. I'm talking about a healthy person.
Yeah. There is another question from Indu Bantia. She asks, diabetes with hypothyroidism and facing perimenopausal issues currently past 10 months. How can I plan to conceive? I gained weight by 10 kgs in the last 4 months.
I know it's a very challenging situation being diabetic and hypothyroid, and because the major challenge. So if you plan to conceive, I think please take help of a physician or a endocrinologist or a team of people, team of physicians. And when you are planning to conceive, please maintain, before you plan to conceive, please check your blood sugars, and please control your blood sugars, and also weight as much as possible to the normal limits. That will help you to have a better pregnancy. Why I'm telling, because if even if you conceive and you have not kept your sugars in a normal level, as close as to normal, the normal baby's body or the parts are formed in the first 2 months, 8 weeks. So by the time you know pregnant, it might be more than 8 weeks, and your sugars are very high during that time. So that might have a very adverse effect on your baby's formation. So if you're planning to conceive, so please plan much before. Talk to your diabetologist, endocrinologist, and gynecologist, whoever you're consulting, and control your sugars and weight. If you need help, you take help of a dietitian also, and then plan your pregnancy. And if there are other issues in terms of like there the issues in conceiving or something else, or there is infertility issues, something like that, so please also consult a infertility specialist and then follow their advice and go ahead.
Thank you, Devashish. You talked about, planning your pregnancy depending on your blood sugar levels, right? And planning your blood sugar levels in accordance to the period when you want to become pregnant, right? I had another query here. Now, suppose I'm talking about a normal person who doesn't have diabetes. We are saying that in pregnancy, there are chances of gestational diabetes developing, right? Temporary kind of diabetes developing during pregnancy. Now, because during pregnancy, the female is asked to consume a lot of food and take a good amount of food for the mother as well as for the child. Do you think a restricted diet would help people who are at a risk of developing gestational diabetes? I will come to the risk factors of gestational diabetes also as a second question, or you may answer both together.
Yeah, no. So the question I was responding to the other lady, if you already are diabetic and then planning a pregnancy, what I told.
Yes.
But gestational diabetes definition itself says you are a healthy individual and you first come to know that there is a glucose intolerance in your body in the 24 to 28 weeks of pregnancy. Then we call it, or the first time occurrence is called gestational. So in the early part of the pregnancy, she is normal. Normally, a person becomes gestational diabetes, or normally they happens in the end of second or third trimester. So once they come to know that there is gestational diabetes, and so what is the criteria for that? First of all, as you said, what are the risk factors? The first risk factors are if your age is more than 40. Second, if you are already overweight or obese or morbidly obese. Third, if already you had a previous pregnancy where you were gestational, or a previous pregnancy you had a big baby which weighed more than 4 kilograms, or you have a family history of diabetes in your family, maybe your brother or sister or your mama or chacha or masi or bua or your parents. Or there are also ethnic, as they say, people from South Asian continent, Indian origin, they have higher risk as compared to some Western population. And apart from that, if you have high blood pressure, if you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, then you have a very high likely chance of becoming gestational diabetes. These are the risk factors of having or becoming a gestational diabetes. Now, how to diagnose gestational diabetes? Earlier they used to say that you have to do a fasting, then you have to do a 2 hours post meal glucose. Then depending on the result, then we used to tell if the fasting is more than 92, fasting is at least 8 hours fasting, and if the 2 hour postprandial is more than 153, then we used to tell it that it is gestational. But now it has been challenged in several different globally, because it is very difficult to get a fasting done in a pregnant lady. Very, very challenging. You can't, yes. Because she normally takes something. So now what the latest guideline says, globally it has been approved, and also in India, that when a pregnant lady comes, so as I told, when you should do screening, if it is a normal healthy individual, you should do around 24 to 28 weeks of screening of pregnancy. If all these risk factors, what I told, if the lady has, then you should do earlier, around 18 weeks. Not before that.
Yeah,
but there is also a catch. If you do early, that it could happen that she was already a pre-diabetic or diabetic, and then she came to know when she was pregnant in the early stage. So you have to clarify and you have to avoid that, or you have to exclude that she was not diabetic or pre-diabetic before pregnancy. That needs to be excluded. Now, the latest screening guideline says, whenever I'm talking about 24 to 28 weeks, whenever a pregnant lady comes, she doesn't have any history, nothing, we want to screen for GDM, you just give her 75 grams of glucose. She can take at home also. She comes to the lab, and after 2 hours, we check her blood sugars. If the blood sugars are more than 140 milligram per deciliter, then she is most likely having gestational diabetes. So now they call it a single step procedure. Give 75 grams of glucose, and after 2 hours, check her blood sugars, irrespective of whether she is fasting, whether she is eaten, irrespective of the time of last meal. If she is more than 140, then we call it as a gestational diabetes.
So this is a post glucose blood sugar level, right?
Yes.
It's not a postprandial blood sugar or
No.
PP.
No. So we call oral glucose challenge test.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from anybody?
Yeah, hi. I have a question. This is Jyoti here.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, please.
Yeah, please, Jyoti, go ahead.
As the basis told that for a healthy person, it's recommended to take jaggery than sugar. But for a diabetic patient, the person can take the jaggery or not.
No, ideally,
Not every day, at least occasionally.
Practically, if you ask me, at the end of the day, they will both, whether you take sugar or honey or jaggery, all these three will increase your blood sugars. So advisable that avoid that, take tea or coffee or milk without them. Once in a while, just if you want to take, maybe you can take, if you are taking a tea or coffee, maybe a half teaspoon of jaggery. If you are not so uncontrolled diabetes, in a very early stage of diabetes, you have a good lifestyle, you are working out, you are maintaining, you're taking good meal, then I think maybe half teaspoon of jaggery should be fine. But again, check your sugars regularly. It should not unnecessarily increase your blood sugars.
Yeah, that helped. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody?
Dr. Debashish, I have a question for you.
Yes, madam, please.
Since you allowed us to ask even stupid questions, I have a very simple question. Is the craving after having your dinner, the craving to have something sweet, so much so that you just have to find out something? So, okay, just a minute. I'll start my video. I have been asked to start my video. So is the craving a sign of developing that? I have no diabetes history. Daddy, ma, nobody has it. But even I have never got it tested, but I don't have any symptoms because I've been listening to everybody and etc. So is the craving a sign for that your body, you are heading towards something? Is it?
Not necessarily. The craving happens, number one is you are taking your dinner late. Number one, you are taking your dinner time might be late.
It is around 8:39. You said 8 o'clock you should, but then I go to sleep at about 12.
Yeah. So 8:30. So when was your before 8:30? When did you eat last?
Before 8:30.
Yeah. So if 8:30 is your dinner, when was the last time you had food?
Tea time at about 5:30. I had I have something like kuch bhi snacks le lete hain.
Okay.
Nothing in particular, but the lunch is at about 2:30.
Okay, then fine. Yeah. So number one is cravings is not a sign of diabetes.
Okay.
It could be just because of the taste you have developed over the years. But it is always good to avoid any kind of sweets or fruits just after any meals. Normally, I have seen a lot of Indian families, they take fruits or sweets after the meals. Why I'm telling you, when you are taking a regular meal, either in the lunch or dinner or in the breakfast, you are anyway having some amount of roti, chapati, dal or chawal. So already your blood sugar is going up because of these carbohydrates and proteins.
Yeah.
So again, if you add, whether you are healthy or not, again, if you are adding sweets, chocolates or fruits or fruit juice during that time, it is again elevating your blood sugar unnecessarily much higher.
Okay.
So rather than that, what I advise to people is you take your fruits and any sweets in between your meals. For example, at 5 o'clock, instead of something else, some junk foods, you take fruits or egg sweet you want to take. Or you had a lunch you had a dinner at 8:30 and you're going to sleep at 12. So it are almost 4 hours. So maybe at 11 o'clock, you can have some fruits rather than taking at 9 o'clock when you're finishing dinner. So that you're giving gap to your body, and whatever sugars are releasing from your food is being taken care by the body, and insulin is released in a very properly manner, so that it is utilized better than that.
But actually, doctor, it is immediately after the dinner that you not lunch. After lunch, I don't want. After dinner, I must have something sweet, and I cannot give a gap because I know that after some time I'll be having my milk with haldi. That is a must in a house. All three of us take that. And if I don't get anything sweet, I put good sugar in that milk. Otherwise, I don't take sugar.
So what I advise is there's not a sign. What I tell is you just give some gap after a dinner. Maybe after 2 hours, you take that sweet, and you can have your milk and haldi, which I also take. You can take at bedtime. No issues.
Without sugar.
Without sugar.
Acha. Bedtime means now I need not wait for that 2 hours gap or something. I can have the milk and go off to sleep after brushing the teeth.
Yeah, no issues.
Acha.
For milk and haldi, so normally when people ask me, either you can take at bedtime or you can take early morning if you get up at that time.
It'll be at bedtime.
Whatever, it's up to you. There's no hard and fast rule of that.
Thank you. I'm so relieved, really.
But it's not a sign of diabetes. So
okay, thank you. There's one question for you.
Yeah, I think somebody's asking. Ananya Kar. Yeah, Ananya, please go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Ananya, please switch on your
Hi,
video and.
Thank you, Dr. Devashish, for your chat. Though to be honest, I missed most of it really. My question is basically how tight a control do you aim for your GDM women during pregnancy?
Yeah, good question. Actually, GDM women actually need a lot of very very control. The guidelines says it is much more relaxed in a normal diabetic women, a woman who is living with diabetes. But if it is because during pregnancy, it has to be stringent because of two reasons: because of taking care of the female itself and also the baby, both. And guidelines says that your fasting should be less than 90. Your post meal glucose should be less than 2 hours, should be less than 120, and A1C should be less than 6. So it is actually very very stringent, and it is actually best. It is best for the mother and the baby, because diabetes during glucose intolerance during pregnancy, it affects, it has perinatal complications, it has complications to the baby and mother. So it's best to be on a good stringent control.
Devashish, you were answering to Ananya, who herself is a doctor, so she probably understands when you say perinatal and terms like those. I mean, for the benefit of the rest of the audience,
for the benefit of the audience. So, if any lady has gestational diabetes, I think the lady has to be very motivated. They have to break their meals at least 5 to 6 times in a day. Take small meals, divide it properly, have a proper proportion of carbohydrate, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins, nuts, fibers, fruits, and discuss with the dietitian if needed, and your healthcare providers, and check your blood sugars regularly, even with a medical nutrition therapy and your physical workout or exercise, whatever has been advised to you. If still you cannot control your sugars, what I told you, fasting 90 ke niche, postprandial less than 120, the 2 hours, you might have to start metformin or insulin, because it is good for you, for the female, because you will have less of side effects. It's good for you. It will also have a good effect on your baby, because the baby, if you are uncontrolled, there will be a large baby, what we call macrosomia, more than 4 kilos. Then the delivery will be a problem. There will be high chance of cesarean section. There could be a chance of instrumentation, instruments used during delivery. There could be shoulder dystocia. There could be neonatal hypoglycemia. Bachche ko just after birth, sugars can go down, or there might be respiratory problems. So it's better to control the sugars as tight as possible in a gestational diabetes.
ये चीज मैं थोड़ी हिंदी में ही बोल देती हूँ, सेम थिंग, आई एम जस्ट रिपीटिंग इट. तो अगर आपको प्रेगनेंसी के टाइम पहली बार डायबिटीज आता है, जैसे जिसको जेस्टेशनल डायबिटीज बोला जा रहा है, तो अगर जेस्टेशनल डायबिटीज है, उसका इफेक्ट आपके बच्चे पे भी आ सकता है और आपके खुद की सेहत पे भी आता है. तो इसलिए आपको अपना ब्लड शुगर बहुत टाइट रेंज के अंदर मेंटेन करना पड़ता है, कंपेयर टू वो औरत जिनको पहले डायबिटीज ऑलरेडी है, प्रेगनेंसी से पहले भी उनको डायबिटीज था. नो, अब जब उनको ब्लड शुगर कितना कंट्रोल करना है, फास्टिंग 90 में रखना है, और जो 2 आवर आफ्टर ग्लूकोज या आफ्टर फूड है वो 120 के आसपास रहना
120 से
चाहिए या
नीचे।
उससे कम रहना चाहिए, राइट। और डॉक्टर दास ने बताया अभी कि इफेक्ट क्या पड़ता है बच्चे के ऊपर। बच्चा या तो बहुत बड़े साइज का हो जाता है, जब आप माँ को डायबिटीज होता है तो बच्चे का साइज ज्यादा बड़ा होता है, और इसी कारण डिलीवरी में प्रॉब्लम होता है, और नॉर्मल डिलीवरी करना मुश्किल हो जाता है। ऐसी लेडीज को ज्यादातर सिजेरियन सेक्शन करवाना पड़ता है, या तो अगर नॉर्मल पाथ से वेजिनल डिलीवरी भी होता है तो इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन जो उन्होंने बताया, इंस्ट्रूमेंट मतलब फोर्सेप्स डिलीवरी वगैरह कराना पड़ता है, राइट। सो इसीलिए आपको अपने बच्चे के खातिर, और बच्चा जब पैदा भी हो जाता है इमीडिएटली आफ्टर द बर्थ बच्चे का ब्लड शुगर अचानक बहुत लो हो जाता है, या बच्चे को सांस लेने में प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है। तो इसीलिए बच्चे के लिए अगर आपको जेस्टेशनल डायबिटीज हो रहा है तो आपको बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट डाइट, स्ट्रिक्ट रेजिमेन में रहना पड़ेगा।
So there is a saying that treatment of gestational diabetes is the primary prevention for the next generation.
Yes, that's true.
So if you manage well gestational diabetes agar karte ho, then definitely not only you, your next generation will also be more safer.
Thank you, Mini Shikha. She says it's a very good question from Dr. Ananya. Anything else that you people want to know? We have a few more.
Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, as you're opening the forum, so I'm just putting my question. One more question. Yeah, as we know that this is a hereditary disease, diabetic is a hereditary disease. So the way you explained that, even I have gone through all these in my life. I had gestational diabetes during my second pregnancy, and then after 3 years of my baby came out, I was in pre-diabetic, and now I'm diabetic. I will say it's all my ignorance. I used to work for 10 to 12 hours in front of, using computer because of my profession and all. But right now, and I was very demotivated. Honestly speaking, last year I got detected as a diabetic person, but my sugar level was not very high. It's just above 1 or 2 points of the normal. So the doctor told me to go for exercise, take proper diet. I did that, all these things. But and somehow I recovered from last 3 tests. It's better. It's normal, beyond the normal range, so which is good. My question here is that I have 2 daughters. So is it like my daughters will have the tendency of getting diabetic in future? Is it like that?
Not necessarily, but yes, there is if you ask me, as per the data or epidemiological data we have, your daughters will have a higher chance of having diabetes as compared to other mother who does not have diabetes. So that I can say that they will definitely have a high chance of having diabetes in their lifetime as compared to a other lady who was not diabetic.
Okay. Okay.
So
how to keep ourselves motivated? See, if once you are diabetic or you are detected as diabetic person, so it will be there. As you told, type 2 diabetes is not curable. So we have to control that with exercise and food. So how to keep yourself motivated, with exercise and food only, or any other mantra you can give us?
No, I think there is no one formula for everyone. A healthy diet and exercise is not only good, you also need to have a proper, what we say, a good mental health. You need to manage your stress also well. You should be happy, and you have to find out ways to include them in your day-to-day life, so that you don't take it as a burden. You should take it as a way to keep yourself fit, if you ask me. हाँ, so if you take नहीं मुझे तो करना ही पड़ेगा, या नहीं तो करूंगी तो मेरा शुगर बढ़ जाएगा. I think you should look at it that if you that how can I be slimmer? How can I look good if I am a slimmer? Then my friends will like me, and my husband, my boyfriend, or my parents all like me.
You're right.
And include that in your lifestyle, both diet, a healthy diet, and because theoretically it's very easy for me to tell, to be very frank. Okay, I can tell you कि आप ये चने खाओ, ये खाओ, ये all that do, and आप gym दौड़ो and do a treadmill. I will not say that. You whatever physical activity you like. If you like dancing, I tell my patients. Lot of females come to me. They बोलते मैं बाहर नहीं जा सकती. They are all Muslim ladies. मैं बाहर जाके walk नहीं कर सकती डॉक्टर साहब. मैंने बोला तुम घर के अंदर ही डांस करो. तुम म्यूजिक ऑन करो, घर के अंदर आधा घंटा तुम और तुम्हारी बेटी डांस करो. If you like it. So you have to find out ways that motivates you to keep yourself fit. There's no one size fits all.
There is a question from Miss Indu. She asks, what is the age of a child to check out about diabetes when the mother has diabetes?
There is no exact, currently we do not have any guidelines to say that. First, let me just add on one more question to that. If a lady has gestational diabetes, so as I said, normally after delivery, she becomes normal. But she has a high likely chance of becoming a type 2 diabetes in her lifetime. But the first screening should be done at least at 6 to 8 weeks post-delivery. Normally after delivery, whatever you are on insulin or tablets, these are all stopped. So please do the screening first at 6 to 8 weeks of post-delivery for the female itself.
This is for the lady.
Lady. Yeah, I'm coming to the child. And then if you are still normal, no signs of diabetes, please regularly, at least every yearly once, you keep try to be fit, maintain your weight, avoid all the risk factors, like have a healthy diet, keep some exercise daily, whatever you like, have a healthy mental life and family life, and every year, 1.5 years, at least do screening so that you come to know that you are not progressing towards that. If you know early, then you can prevent. For a child of that mother, there is no certain guidelines when to check, but look for any parameters. So avoid, not only for gestational diabetes, for any child, I always say avoid the child being obese. Please check. Apart from studies, please allow them to have sports or any physical activity. Don't allow them to become obese, and avoid junk foods. And if they are going that way, and you seem to that they are gaining weight, lot of weight as compared to his height and age, please consult a pediatric endocrinologist or a child specialist who happens to do diabetes check. But there's no exact guideline. But if you are following that, the child is healthy, maybe down the line after 15 years or 16 years or 20 years, just if something is going wrong in terms of signs or symptoms of normal diabetes, or he's becoming overweight, obese, just do the screening.
Thank you. Any other question from anybody? I would also like to invite Dr. Ananya Kar, who is with us. She is a gynecologist from NHS UK. Ananya, would you like to add some insights here about gestational diabetes? You must be coming across, many patients who have diabetes during their pregnancy.
Yes, Natasha. We have a very strict guidelines to help get the best possible outcome, as Dr. Devashish was saying. So we actually screen, that was one of, because I missed the talk, one of my questions, we screen all Indian women for diabetes during pregnancy, if they have not already got diabetes, of course. That was one of the questions,
we are also doing.
That's universally done.
Yes, we are also doing.
For all Indian women. Yeah. So one of my, one of our biggest insights is the timing of the delivery is very crucial. And
your voice is breaking, Ananya.
Sorry. It's probably because I'm driving.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So one of the things is as an obstetrician, one of the worries is to deliver the baby at the right time. And we do offer women even cesarean sections here at 37 weeks. based on their previous history, even if they have had good control, but if they have had not so good outcome previously, we do offer them. It's not like you have to have it, but it is on the basis of unpredicted shoulder dystocias which has happened, or a hypoxic insult which has happened to the baby. Which means basically, I mean, Natasha, you can probably translate it into Hindi for to help for people to understand.
Yeah.
And that is done to improve outcome as well. And that's the thing that we do in consultation with our women here.
Yeah. So you prefer an earlier delivery there in UK, right? Or I mean, I would say when the organs are all developed, you prefer to do it at an earlier stage?
37 weeks. Yes,
37 weeks when the organs are all developed, you don't wait for the, I mean, expected date of delivery.
Labor to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably because बच्चा बड़ा होता है, डायबिटीज मदर का बच्चा जो होता है वो बड़ा होता है साइज में, राइट? इसी कारण होता है डॉक्टर आरण्या?
हाँ, वो तो होता ही है, but the thing is whether the baby is too big for the mother or not is very difficult to know. Here we have started now growth chart which takes into account the mother's ethnic origin as well as her height and weight as well. So what is called a customized growth chart. So even if it is within the normal limits, if the trend is like babies putting on weight too fast, we do aim to get them out earlier rather than later as well.
Yeah.
And that may be, I mean, Dr. Devishi may be already be aware of this and maybe already be practicing, but it's I thought it's worth mentioning. And it's actually, they also need, if they are having a cesarean section, we also give steroid cover to the babies, particularly if they are being delivered before 39 weeks. I don't know if that is a practice which is done in India.
Yes, India also.
But that is something that women may. So that's great. I mean, so it's to just reduce the risk of the babies ending up in the neonatal unit, because sometimes they can have breathing problems as well, because the lungs are not very well squeezed when they are delivered by cesarean section.
Yeah. कोई और क्वेश्चन किसी से? थैंक यू अनन्या फॉर योर इनसाइट, दैट्स रियली वैल्यूएबल. और कोई क्वेश्चन पार्टिसिपेंट्स है? बिकॉज वी ऑलरेडी टच्ड 8. अगर कोई क्वेश्चन है तो वी आर स्टिल रेडी टू टेक इन 1 or 2 questions, otherwise we'll wind up. Okay, let me just check the chat window if we missed something. No, I think we've just had some thank you messages. Thank you, thanks, thank you very much. It was very informative. Thank you very much. Very good session. Any other questions? Okay, Dr. Devashish, maybe you could share your last few words with the participants about diabetes and women.
No, I think so one thing I wanted to tell here. Now, you did not ask me why these complications are more in when although the prevalence of diabetes is so high in men, why the complications are more in women.
Yeah, that's a good thing that, I mean, we missed it out, but it's a very important patient.
Yes. The first one is women are very careless about their own health. They are very careful for their family's health and others' health, but they are very careless for their own health. Number one. So the awareness and adherence to the treatment is very less for women. And in several parts of the world, women do not have good access, especially in the Middle East and other regions. Women do not have access to good healthcare practices and services. Second. Third, genetically also the makeup of women are like that they have more of vascular side effects as compared to men. Because if you see, although the prevalence of diabetes is more in men, but the obesity, so I have some data, like if you see globally, almost if you see from 1975 to 2014, 3% to 11% of men now are BMI more than 30, means they are obese. But in women, it has gone up from 6 to 15%. And globally, 2% women are severely obese, and 5%, 2% men, and women 5%. Morbidly obese, 0.6% men, but 1.6% women. So the weight gain or the weight is one of the major problems in the females as compared to men. So the fat distribution in females is quite different than males, which actually predisposes them to more of these side effects, apart from the hormonal imbalances they undergo at puberty, then at menopause, during pregnancy, which again makes them vulnerable. So only I want to say all the female friends and teachers and colleagues here who are listening, please take care of your health. Have not only you take care of your family, I think you have to be fit first to take care of your family. I always tell my patient lady who comes कि पहले आप अपने को fit करो, फिर जाके आप अपने बच्चे को देख सकते हो या husband को देख सकते हो. So have a good diet, have a good healthy balanced diet, and do some physical activity, whatever you like, dance, running, cycling, jogging, जो भी आपको पसंद है, walking, and be happy and mentally stress free. Do yoga or Zumba or aerobic dance, whatever you like it, and lead a good life and a complication-free life. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Devashish. That was a very important message that you gave, that females need to take care of their own health as a priority now.
Yes.
Because for them, their health is never a priority. And that's the reason why, we see the results of a survey here that I'm showing on the screen right now, that 85% women agree that regular medical checkup is a must to prevent diabetes, prevent or control diabetes. But 50% of those women who were surveyed had not had themselves examined for diabetes. Right? So they know that they need to get checked. They know that they need to, have a regular medical checkup, but they don't get it done. Plus, many women believe, like this is 50% of the women believe that exercise and yoga can control diabetes, but almost 35% of them admit that they do not do enough exercise in their daily life. Right? So this is a survey result that I found, which I thought was interesting, and I thought I should share it here. Thank you everybody for an active participation. We've had a very good session today. Thank you, Devashish, for your time and for your expert advice to the participants here. I'm sure it was very helpful to most of us. And thank you, Ananya, for joining in and also providing some insights of how you are managing pregnant ladies with diabetes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Natasha, Dr. Devashish. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being a part of this interaction. And even I have learned lots of things today, and I'm very relieved that craving for sugar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And thank you very much, Dr. Das, for first of all organizing this. And I think even as a doctor, your last words and the data that you gave is an eye-opener. Didn't know that obesity was more prevalent in actually women, to be honest. But this is like a further take-home message for me, certainly. So thank you very much. I'm glad I could join in, even if it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. I'll be ending the session. Thank you.